Hey everyone, it's Veronica Wasek with 5-Minute Bookkeeping, and today I'll be talking about integrating Amazon to QuickBooks Online. I work with e-commerce sellers, and one of the challenges that I see in working with online and e-commerce sellers is integrating their multi-channels with QuickBooks Online. In a previous video, I talked about recording Amazon income into QuickBooks Online, and I had told you about the fact that one of the challenges that we see in recording that income is that Amazon, while it makes a single deposit into your bank account every 2 weeks, the settlement statement actually is composed of a lot of different transactions, whether it's income, deductions from that income, and fees. So there's a lot more to record in QuickBooks if you really want to have a true picture of what's going on with your Amazon sales. And for that reason, then we have to do the accounting differently for your Amazon store. One of the things to keep in mind, and as I had said in my previous video, is that we can record these transactions manually into QuickBooks, but ultimately, especially if you're a large volume seller, you don't want to be recording this in detail in QuickBooks, and you definitely don't want to be recording it manually. So I'll be talking about integrations between Amazon and QuickBooks Online and what to look for. So let's go ahead and take a look. I am on the apps.com website provided by Intuit, where you can see all of the apps that have been approved by Intuit Corporation to integrate with QuickBooks Online. So these are apps that have been vetted by Intuit. Let's go ahead and look for Amazon. And you see that there are actually 19 results for apps that integrate Amazon and QuickBooks Online. And some of the most popular ones here are one by Webgility, A2X, Entrywise, and Connex. I would encourage you to go through each one of these, click on each one, and look at the functionality of these apps. Many of them will post daily summaries into QuickBooks, which is what we're looking for. This is what I recommend to my e-commerce clients, is to record daily summaries of sales. There's no need to bring in every Amazon transaction into QuickBooks. That's way too much detail. You're also looking for whether it tracks inventory in QuickBooks or whether it tracks inventory in the app, or you might have to use another app to track inventory. Whether you can reconcile the Amazon statement, the Amazon settlement statement, and QuickBooks Online. That's really important from an accounting standpoint, to be able to reconcile the amounts that are recorded versus the amounts that are actually received from the bank account. And whether it supports multi-channels. The other thing to look at is the reviews. So look at whether they have good reviews, and then see what the reviews say. So as I said, you have lots of options. So what I'll talk about next is the things that you need to consider in integrating Amazon and QuickBooks Online. First, I recommend recording daily summaries only on QuickBooks Online. There's no need to bring in details into QuickBooks, like an invoice or sales receipt for every single transaction. That's just way too much detail. There's no need to do that. Again, especially if you're a high volume seller, this is not something that's sustainable on QuickBooks. The more data that you have in QuickBooks, the slower that QuickBooks becomes. So your goal is really to reduce the data volume in QuickBooks. And really we're looking to make sure that we capture the dollar amounts instead of all the details of all the transactions. The second thing that you want to be able to do is to reconcile and match amounts received in the bank account to the amounts on the Amazon settlement statement. So as I told you before, the settlement statement has sales, deductions, fees, lots of things going on, lots of components, multiple amounts, whereas what you receive in the bank account is just one amount, and you need to be able to reconcile those two amounts. Next, you want to capture sales in the month that they belong in. So one of the things that Amazon does, it of course settles your payments every 2 weeks. But what if that month falls partly in 1 week, and then the next month starts in the next week, but you're getting all of the income in one payment? You need to be able to then break out the income received into each month, so that when you're looking at sales for each month, you'll have accurate numbers and be able to really start looking at how you're doing every month and getting a true picture of how you're doing. Next, I don't recommend trying to track inventory in QuickBooks Online, and what I mean by that is the details of inventory. So actually tracking inventory quantities in QuickBooks Online. If you're a low volume seller, this is something that you might be able to do, but ultimately as you grow, you're looking at using a cloud inventory app to track your inventory, especially if you're a multi-channel user. That's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on, and ultimately QuickBooks Online is just too limited. You won't be able to track inventory by channel. Next, you want to be able to track sales, fees, and all of transactions being added or deducted on the settlement statement. So you do want to get that broken out into your QuickBooks. You don't need the details, but you do need the totals of that, so that you can see really what is your true income and what are your fees, and then what's your profitability. A lot of Amazon sellers are not sure about what their profitability is, or not even sure if they're making a profit on their product, especially FBA sellers. So you need a clear picture of what your profitability is, so you can focus on the more profitable products that you're selling. If you're an international seller, you want to make sure that the app that you use, the integration that you use, is compatible with other country versions of Amazon. The next thing to consider is the integration. Do you have the ability to map all of the income, the deductions, and the fees into the right accounts, or into the accounts that you want to use in QuickBooks Online? Or do you have an integration that just kind of dumps everything into maybe just 2 or 3 accounts? That's important, especially when you're trying to see where your money is coming in, where it's going, and what your profitability is. How do you really make a decision as to which is the best app for you? Here are some tips to consider. Make a list of your requirements. Make sure that you are clear on what are the things that are important to you and what you need this app to do. It's not just good enough for it to bring data over from Amazon. It really needs to address your specific needs. You might need help from someone like me to help you make that decision, because a lot of it has to do with the accounting side of things. Next, evaluate your options. So take a look at the options that you have based on your criteria. Then consider the integration between Amazon and QuickBooks. Is it a good integration? Is it going to really give you the information that you need without cluttering up your QuickBooks file? Are you able to control where the income and expenses are recorded into QuickBooks, or is information just getting dumped over into QuickBooks? Once you want to start testing some of these apps, then test in small batches. Never connect an app with Amazon and just let all this information come over to QuickBooks. Test just 1 settlement statement, maybe 2, and see if the information is coming over the way you're expecting. The worst thing you would want to do is to bring over a bunch of data, then realize that it's really not coming over the right way, and then have to clean up and delete everything that you brought over from that integration. Also consider that once you connect QuickBooks with another application, no matter what it is, that the way that you use QuickBooks, the workflows and the systems and processes that you use around your QuickBooks is going to change. And that's because this app is now bringing data into QuickBooks, which you have to treat differently. You might have to reconcile it. You might have to do things differently in your QuickBooks after you connect QuickBooks to an app. And finally, understand that just because you're syncing Amazon and QuickBooks, that doesn't eliminate work. It doesn't eliminate having to do your bookkeeping. It just changes the way in which you use QuickBooks and the kind of work that you do. So just keep in mind that integration and automation does not mean elimination of work. It just means that you're having to do some accounting and bookkeeping tasks differently than you would have otherwise. The app that I like to use and that I recommend is A2X. A2X pretty much does everything that I told you already and the things that you should be looking for. It brings in summarized totals. It doesn't try to track inventory. It reconciles everything from the settlement statement into your QuickBooks and makes it very easy to map the transactions from Amazon into QuickBooks. And you can even import historical data going back several months if you haven't yet recorded any of your Amazon transactions. I've shared with you the factors that you need to keep in mind when integrating Amazon and QuickBooks Online. Let me know in the comments if you're using A2X or another app to integrate Amazon and QBO. I'm Veronica Wasek with 5-Minute Bookkeeping. Make sure to check the description box below for free resources and also join my Facebook group. If this content is helping you, make sure that you comment, like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you can get all of my latest videos.